This is going to be a quick one. Go back to last weekend's boxing action. Only real fight of any major notice to take notice of, if you like, would be the world title fight for the WBA light heavyweight regular title between Juergen Braehmer and Robin Krasniqi. Now, the week before, of course, we've seen Sergey Kovalev beat John Pascal in what was probably one of the best fights I've seen this year. And a lot of people, maybe not a lot of people, but with some people in some corners of the world calling for Juergen Braehmer to be put in the mix of your Kovalevs and your Adonis Stevensons of the world. Don't get it. Juergen Braehmer was a superb amateur. He was. Beat some really good fighters in the amateurs. As a pro, he's never really lived up to the expectation, I believe, that was put upon him after his amateur background. The one thing that really annoys me when people mention Juergen Braehmer in the same breath of as Adonis Stevenson and Sergey Kovalev is we're talking about a man that has had his opportunities in years gone by to already be in that mix, and through injuries and his own misfortunes and maybe his own decision making for that matter, it's not really happened for him. People putting him in that mix have got to take into consideration this. Juergen Braehmer can box, no doubt about it. He's also very hittable. Very hittable. And he has got a good chin, but then has he really been in with a hard-hitting fighter at light heavyweight recently? I mean, Krasniqi exposed Braehmer on many occasions in some rounds throughout the fight last weekend. But Krasniqi's not a hard-hitting fighter. And it makes you ask the question, a bit like in the sense of Martin Murray versus Golovkin, where Murray exposed Golovkin an awful lot on how easy Golovkin is to hit. And it kind of begs to ask the question, the same as this fight, is Juergen Braehmer goes in with a bigger puncher, is he going to be in trouble? And whereas with the Golovkin argument, that may be a little bit more difficult to answer. For me, Juergen Braehmer is a simple answer, and that is yes, he would be in trouble. You know, he got rocked by Krasniqi at times. Not seriously rocked, but he was put back on his heels a couple of times. He was stunned a couple of times. Krasniqi doesn't hit hard. So for me, considering Braehmer's age as well, you know, he's late 30s, he's no spring chicken. You put him in there with the Kovalev, or if you put him in there with an Adonis Stevenson, you may as well kiss his world title goodbye. Because for me, I can't see him outboxing either of those guys. I don't think he's the athlete that Adonis Stevenson or Kovalev is. And even though, in fairness to Juergen Braehmer, he is a tricky southpaw, and he has got a really, really good left-hand punch. A really good left hand just in general. Hard-hitting hand. I don't think he'd be able to box or keep with Sergey Kovalev or Adonis Stevenson. Even though his left hand could maybe cause trouble. You know, you've got to land it first. And you've got to land it on a consistent basis. And against two guys, like I said, I think are both technically better than Juergen Braehmer and technically both better athletes than Juergen Braehmer. I don't see Braehmer even taking them 12 rounds, to be honest. I would say he suffers the same fate as John Pascal did last weekend. The previous weekend. So for Juergen Braehmer, my advice to him would be keep hold of your little world title. Keep making good money in front of your own crowd in Germany. Although, in fairness, I think it's about time he took on Nathan Cleverly. That fight's been due for a few years. Originally, of course, meant to happen back in, 2011 for the WBO light heavyweight title. And then, of course, Cleverly, became champion by default because that fight didn't materialise. So, let's see that fight happen. You know, Cleverly's probably one of the most fragile mental, or one of the boxers that's in a fragile state of mind right now. Can't really decide on what weight division he wants to be in. He's changed trainers and locations multiple times over the last 2 or 3 years. Suffered 2 defeats in his last 4 fights, of course, against Tony Bellew at cruiserweight, and of course Kovalev at light heavyweight via that vicious knockout, and just hasn't looked the same fighter since. So that, fighting someone like Braehmer for him, who I think is a step down from Bellew and Kovalev, would give him a perfect opportunity to, be competitive for a world title, I think would be the politest way to put it. So let's see that fight happening next. I don't think Braehmer would have any reason to come over here for that fight, so I'd fancy it to happen in Germany. Although, Eddie Hearn flashes a bit of cash for Nathan Cleverly, I'm sure they could work something out with the Solons. So anyway, that's just my quick review from last weekend. Peace out, leave a comment.